Hey, welcome back. I'm just going to be doing a little overview of my plans for the week, just because I feel like that's a way to motivate me. I've sort of fallen behind on my painting, and I want to set a goal for myself that I'm going to try to live up to, although right off the bat I'm going to admit it might be hard this week just because I start going back to work on Wednesday, the same day my son starts his first day of grade 1. And I don't probably have too much take-home work this week, but I do teach, so I will have to do a fair bit of extra stuff in the evening, I'm guessing. Every hour of prep I put in at home is probably going to wind up being a big chunk of time I save later. And I don't know my schedule yet. I'm kind of just jumping into a position sort of last minute. And I don't know what it looks like. I do know I have quite a few periods I'm teaching, and I need to make sure I have everything ready for that. But I don't think my goals I'm setting for myself are that crazy. So I'm gonna get the odd man out of the way. This is my old pewter mephiston. I picked him up off of eBay a few weeks ago, and I showed him off a couple of weeks ago, I think, when I first got back from my holiday. And in that time, I threw some Nuln oil on him, and I'm legitimately really happy with how he looks with Nuln oil. Oh, and I did start working on his cape a little bit. But, I mean, the person who painted this originally, you can tell by this base, it was a while ago. They did a really good job. Everything was very clean. Very little issues. The only thing being an issue here is the missing backpack, but he just has a standard backpack. I mean, it's not quite standard per se. It's the old plastic command backpack sprue. But, I mean, I think the only thing special about that was maybe there was like an extra little like piece of molded detail, like a skull or something, or an eagle, and had a banner, which in the case of Mephiston, you just cut the banner off anyways 9 times out of 10. So I have loads of backpacks kicking around. Ones either that I've printed as spares because I'm cleaning up an old 3rd Ed Blood Angel army that I've been kind of like tinkering with, and I also just have spare ones because I mean I've been playing for going on 25 years, something like that. I've got Marine stuff kicking around. That's what I'm saying. So for him, because I'm actually painting this guy up for a 3rd edition army, I am only going to do very minimal extra work on him. I actually like the fact that he's sort of like plain in a lot of ways. I think that kind of fits the theme I'm going for with a 3rd Ed build. And so I'll get his backpack out and I'll prime that and I'll paint it up. But then I plan to kind of just leave him there for now. Might just clean up a few of the spots on him that are a little bit muddled after the Nuln oil, but for the most part the Nuln oil did do its job. So yeah, a lot of information talking about this one little dude, but I just want something to break up the overall week, which is going to entail finishing up these guys. I'm going to be working on them here in a little bit and be able to get the majority of the work on them done tonight, because almost all the blue is done. And at that point, it's just making sure I have all the metal work done, which also I'd say half of the metal work is done. And then it's just tidying up and doing the details like the eyes and whatnot on them. But it really shouldn't be too hard to finish these guys up. Most of the work is going to go into their helmets to really bring those out. So yeah, finishing up my Assault Marines, Knight, Raptors, whatever you want to call them. and fixing my heavy chain swords. They did both break off, so I'll have to pin those in, but that's not too big of a deal. The big project is, I'm not going to finish this week. There's no way I'm going to have time. But I do want to get the blue all finished. So the Storm Eagle was mostly painted before. But what I did is, there we go. This was gold, and I decided to actually just put some Blood Angels red contrast paint over it. And then I'm going to clean it up after that. But I kind of like this. I think it looks pretty good. So that was a big step forward on this with very minimal effort. I think it looks a lot better this way. It's hard to... I'm trying to get it... That's a little bit better. The light was, I guess, directly on it, and it is shiny. So yeah, and then I'm going to just, like I said, get all the blue on it. I covered the whole thing in a black wash I made. So it's quite streaky. It's not like a perfect formula at the moment. There's still like tweaking I'm doing with it. As I had said, I bought a ton of Nuln Oil to last me, but I figured I'm going to take time to learn how to make my own. I've had this for a little bit. I've just been adding stuff to it and changing up the formula on the fly, because I know what it was that went into that bottle. So I sort of just add a certain amount of different things to it every time, flow improvers and mediums, just to see the different results I get. I'm pretty happy with this. It needs to thin down a little bit, because as you can see, it left a lot of kind of like gross splotches. Also, it's very tacky, but that'll be worked out once I just start getting the blues back onto it. And yeah, like I said, I'm just going to get the blue on this guy. And I'll be pretty happy at that point. Where the metals are, for the most part, all blocked in anyways, I'll go back and fix a couple of those at some point too. In the ongoing effort to rehabilitate this poor bird. It needs some help. But then moving over here, I have used the new primer, plus this is the new, what is it, White Scar, but also a Vallejo black primer to make sort of a xenothol, just a quick one. Normally I would just use my airbrush, and frankly, after doing this with 2 rattle cans, I'm just going to go back to the airbrush, just because it actually is a lot simpler. These guys are pure White Scar, or whatever it's called. I think it's White Scar. The new white spray paint anyways. They're purely that, just because I wanted to see the difference. I do prefer xenothol still, but I have to admit, this is a really nice white. I've got a white from, who is it? AK Interactive. It's their 3rd gen acrylics primer. And frankly, I think it's at least as good. It might be a little bit better, but that might be my bias of the price and the ease of using an airbrush over a very expensive rattle can. I want to say it was like 23 bucks after discount for that can of rattle paint, and that's really expensive in my mind. You know, the Vallejo was $15 for the black Vallejo, and I don't have anything I left black, but I can say the black Vallejo, just one second, I'll actually grab it, it's right next to me, or it was. Okay, you know what, I think maybe I left it upstairs. Yeah, I must have left it upstairs after priming. I thought I brought it down. Oh well. It's an excellent primer. It's got a really nice black finish, but again, I have airbrush black primer that I think is equally as good. And it costs a lot less, and you get a lot more work out of that bottle than you do a can. So yeah, that's 15 more Marines. These are Calth Marines with some parts added. And the way I did these technically is Based on my understanding of what Heresy armor is, I did go with the mix. So they have some Mark 6 helmets in there on their Mark 4 armor. But then I've also got the Night Lord's shoulder pads and helmets. I think possibly one or two of these guys might have actual Forge World heads on them. Because I have a pile. I have like 30 Terror Squad heads. No, sorry, these are Terror Squad shoulder pads. These are actually legit Forge World shoulder pads that I got in a trade or a sale or something. Anyways, I got 3 squads worth of shoulder pads and heads at one point. I think I've said this before. The shoulder pads are on these guys because that's what was on them originally. I had like 30 of these dudes with those shoulder pads and the heads, but I knocked the heads off and replaced them. I'm going to save the heads for something else. Then I have some flamer dudes. One of them, his hand broke off. I'll have to fix that up. I don't know what happened there. I dropped some guys and that one just, away it went. I don't know what happened there. I didn't notice it till after I primed it, but I know where it fell, so I should be able to find the piece, and then I'll just kind of prime it on its own and get it back in place, and it really won't be noticeable. And then these guys, the missile launchers, the heavy support Marine squad. The white guys here, what I'm going to do is just get all their base colors on this week. Because that's really not a big job. Like, I can just sit down and do all the blue here in like an hour at most while watching YouTube or something. And then it's just a case of getting all the black on with the Black Legion, and then going back with some white, fixing up all the little spots where I need to put other colors before I cover them in Nuln Oil. But yeah, no, it won't take very long for them. So yeah, these guys will be finished, and these guys, what is this, like 25 dudes, they'll be well on their way to being done this week. And then I have these 3. All 3 of these are going to be getting final work, just making sure everything is smoothed out and all the issues are filed away. And they'll get any extra details or you know, basically just the green stuff and the extra chaos bits I'm going to stick on everything that's here. Just so that I can start getting some vehicles and dreadnoughts and stuff primed. I figure that's a good start. I already have 1 dreadnought done, the Contemptor I've shown before. I'll be able to use 2 Contemptors with this. And then I'll have 1 Leviathan out of my 2 ready. I still haven't built the other because I am going to wait on the weapon sets. I was not able to get one pre-ordered, but to be honest, I don't have the spare cash right now. I've bought a ton of stuff for Horus Heresy, and my hobby dollars, I kind of like limit myself how much I spend, and right now this project has so much that needs to be done that I can honestly wait and it's fine. I might build the Dreadnought minus his arms, just so I can throw him on the table if I want to play a game or let a buddy use him, because whatever. Just friendly games, it doesn't matter. At least not to me and my buddies. But yeah, that is the plan for the week. Getting these 3 gray things ready for priming. Getting the base colors on all these primed guys. Finishing them. Finishing Mephiston. And getting a decent chunk of the work done for this Storm Eagle. Frankly, it's very close, honestly, this guy here. I really like this model. I can't stress enough how much I hated building it, and I really dread building the other one, but I will get to it eventually. I'm going to start off by I'm going to get like a piece of wood. I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to use a bunch of clamps that I have to basically pin it to this table, this little rickety thing that I use as like just a side board, so I don't risk messing up my computer desk too much. And then start basically like strapping pieces down onto that as I warm them up and form them back into the proper shapes. And then hopefully I can have that thing put together in the near future, as Much as I really, really dread it, having 2 of them is going to be awesome and probably worth it. But, yeah, that's my plans for the week. What is everybody else going to be doing? Because, you know, Horus Heresy's been out a couple of months now almost. We're getting our newest Army book, Army Stuff edition next week. And I believe it's October. I haven't heard anything that changes this, that we get our next book, which my understanding is it's like an Imperium book. I'm looking forward to that one just because I do believe I should be able to make a really cool Imperial army doing a force out of that, if I understand what is available there, using my Vostroyans. But I will get to that. I will do a video on my Vostroyans at some point. I've been meaning to for months. But I'll get to them in the near future because I do think they're going to be seeing some action in the next 3 to 6 months, once I have time to get to them and that book is out. So yeah, that's my week. What is everybody else doing? And, you know, do you think I'll get through this, I guess? I mean, I'm not too confident. I've had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life that I'm trying to deal with, and this is more just to motivate me and say, okay, I got a bunch of stuff to do. So I'm going to see what I can do. Anyways, thanks for watching and have a great day.